Okay, it's finally come on. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Something's going very strange with my little YouTube studio square, but anyway. It is what it is. I can see myself and I can see the comments. So presumably we're working and we're back. Let me know if there's any issues in the chat if you can't hear or see me, despite what seems to be changed in my screen view. Okay, thank you. Someone can hear me. I'm sure, or you're right if you can't hear me. So anyway, welcome back, friends, and welcome back to me. So you may have or may not have noticed that we left a post just saying that we're taking an extended retreat. So we did that. We were away for a couple of months on retreat, which was really lovely. Hope that you all have a time in your life to take some retreat from the world. Time away from busyness and screens, family even, if that's possible, friends, and just to have time alone and to appreciate nature and silence if you can. So even if you can do that one day a week, like the traditional Sabbath, the traditional holy day, dedicate one day a week to just switching off and going within and practicing in whatever way works for you in terms of practice. You don't have to sit cross-legged for the whole day, but just to have times in contemplation, time to walk, time to reflect. It does amazing things, doesn't it? Those of you who do it know how rejuvenating it is, but also it's an opportunity to go deeper into your practice. So that is what we were fortunate to be able to do, and now we're back. Nothing's really changed. It's just got more movement and more engagement, but one can still practice. That's the thing. It's just a more natural, integrative practice and bringing back those insights, understandings into daily life. So there's a few people here, and hopefully that's given enough time to get the notification out if people want to join. I think I did glance at someone hasn't been before. A couple of people haven't been to these live streams before. And so what we do, we just spend the first part in meditation with a little bit of guidance to help you settle the mind and direct the mind, or not direct the mind, I should say. And then there's an opportunity for Q&A about meditation practice and Dharma. That's all. Nothing special, but I think these sessions for a lot of people are an opportunity to connect and feel a sense of support and Sangha, particularly if you don't have a physical Sangha nearby. So in terms of the comments, well, I can't read them at the moment because I haven't got my glasses on, so can't see anything. So I'll pick them up after the meditation, and if you can just, if you've joined now and you can settle, you can just leave the chat alone. And sometimes people come in late and say, hello. So just take your eyes away from all this communication and distraction, and we'll begin the meditation. Okay, so wherever you find yourself in whatever environment you might be in at the moment. May not be the perfect place for quiet meditation, but whatever's going on in your household, family, you could be sitting on a train for all I know. It's an opportunity to just go within. Even if your eyes are open and there's people around you, you can still do that. If you feel comfortable closing your eyes, you can do that. And just begin by, it's always a good idea actually to start with a few deep conscious breaths, just to help the body really relax and let go. And also to just help clear out any busyness, any restlessness in the mind. So let's all just do that. 3 deep conscious breaths in your own time. And as you breathe deeply, notice how immediately it just naturally starts to help body and mind become more centered, more present. The muscles all over the body start to relax. The mind finds a more wholesome object to be with, particularly if the thoughts are racing. So you can allow the breath to come back just to its natural flow. But stay connected with it for a while, consciously. Just notice its movement and the nature of the movement, if it's shallow or fast. Smooth and calm. There's no need to force it to be any particular way. Just be very mindful, very conscious of the quality of your own breathing. Watch it enter through the nostrils. Follow its movement and stay with it as you exhale. And see how powerful the tool it is to immediately bring you into this present moment. into pure presence. You don't need to force it. Just let the breath work its magic. All you need to do is to be a quiet witness. And allow things to settle very naturally. And enjoy this process. Notice the inner peace that starts to arise. It's there waiting for you to notice it. Putting away all distractions, all preoccupations, externally and internally. Just give yourself the gift of being in the present moment with your own breathing. There's no other demands on you right now, except for what you yourself are creating. So let those go. And be very simple. And notice when the mind gets bored or restless or starts chasing any desire. Running into the past or the future. Just notice. These are the habits of the mind. Don't engage them. Don't indulge them. And don't fight them. Just alert, awake, and let them go. And notice also if the mind is looking for something, hoping to attain, get something, reach some special state in meditation. Or get back to some state that you had in the past. If you try to attain something in meditation, you straight away set up some sort of conceptual framework, some idea in your head. And this proves a great barrier, a great hindrance. So notice if you're doing that. It can be very subtle. And in noticing it and recognizing its limitations, we can just let that expectation, that striving go. And when you do, just come back to an open, empty mind. And we can rest here. As you stay more and more connected, more and more aware of your own breathing process, you should notice how tranquility naturally arises. And so you can start to feel those effects throughout the body. So let your attention widen now, very gently, very naturally, simply to investigate your own body. Notice its weight, its temperature, and then just spread your awareness from the top of your head throughout the whole body to the tips of your toes. If there's pain or discomfort, just breathe with it for a little while. Give it attention to help it relax. And connecting with your various body parts is another very powerful tool to bring you into pure presence. So don't neglect the power of this mindfulness of body, particularly at the beginning of the meditation. Let it anchor you and ground you. And deepen your sense of tranquility and calm. As you settle more and more into pure presence through this body awareness, you can start to notice the silence, the inner silence. Even if noises are happening around you, you can still sense an inner silence even if thoughts are still racing around your head. You can still sense the inner silence, particularly in the gap between each thought. So let that awareness of inner silence grow and deepen. And as your awareness deepens and deepens, the recognition of this silence, this ever-present silence, can grow. You're not growing it or manufacturing it. It's always there, waiting for you to recognize it. And the more you practice turning your attention towards it, the more sustained it can become. But not through force or will. Only through a gentle intuiting and receptivity. So keep tuning into this. Tuning into your true nature. And only you can do the tuning. Through practice. And as we come towards the end of this meditation, we can finish the way we started, just by taking 3 deep conscious breaths in your own time. And noticing how you feel now at the end of the meditation, the formal meditation. Particularly in contrast to when you started. It's good to make a note of how things change and the conditions that can give rise to these particular changes in your body and mind. And when you feel ready, you can stretch your limbs, open your eyes if they've been closed. And we can come into the shared space in the chat. If you wish to ask any questions about meditation, there's an opportunity. I don't think I missed any earlier questions, but no, I think it's mostly thank yous and hello. So and I found the first question. I think, so my now moment is perfect. However, my mind wants to journey and fuss over a future event or relive a recent past event. I cannot seem to sit in this blessed now moment. Why? Well, you just answered your own question, because the mind is fussing over past and future. So the mind is driven by desires to fantasize, imagine a future event, or to go over the past. So you just have to see that. You're seeing it. And then you see, but I don't want that. I want a perfect now moment. So then you're creating another in a contradiction, in a war. I don't want this, I want that. So you've got to see that as well. However, if you simply see, oh, look, this is the nature of the mind, the conditioned mind, and everyone has this mind, this is our conditioning, and some more than others, obviously, and some days more than others, or moments, that the conditioned mind is driven by desire to get away from something or to move towards something more pleasant that it imagines is going to be more pleasant. So we have to see that conditioning. But in seeing, the thing that does the seeing, the knowing, the witnessing, and doesn't have much more to say about it, it just knows, that's not the conditioned mind. But what you're doing is adding conditioning on conditioning by going, well, I don't like this because I have this idea, someone's told me that the now moment is perfect. So I need perfection. But that's just the same movement of the mind going, I don't want that, I want this. So it sets up just another desire. I want the perfect meditation. I want the perfect moment. So it's this war upon war, isn't it? Inner war. And fighting it. That's why I said in that meditation, don't fight what comes up, just know it. But then we go, but I am knowing it, but it's not changing. It's not, well, it is changing, but it's not changing fast enough according to our desires. We want to just know it, and then we want to sit in perfection and bliss. We're always demanding, always wanting it to be some other way. So we've just got to accept, even if the mind, that whole meditation is just going, la, 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 I want this, I don't want that. If you could just sit there and go, okay, I know it, just be patient. So patience is the highest austerity that the Buddha said. So I just encourage you to be patient and see your desires, how they keep taking different forms, different shapes. Okay. The question below you is just jumped. I try to follow a meditation regime, asana, pranayama, awareness, meditation, but this can only be done to great effect on empty stomach. What meditation regime should I practice on a full stomach? Well, I mean, if your stomach's full, you're probably better off just going for a walk. If you sit and meditate on a full stomach, you're just going to fall asleep mostly. So, just do some walking meditation. Just notice my stomach's full. I mean, if you're a yogi, they say your stomach should never be completely full anyway. You should always have a quarter empty. So, I mean, I don't really have an answer to what practice should I do on a full stomach, other than wait till your stomach's not full. If you want to sit meditation, I'll just notice my stomach is full. So Louis asking, what part of mind recognizes mind essence? Is it ego? Well, it's a good question. It could be, if it goes, I've just recognized mind essence, and then starts to paint all sorts of pictures and ideas and gives itself accolades. I've recognized mind essence. And then it's ego. Anything that's conceptual, discursive, and claiming something as, some sort of achievement is ego. But the part of the mind that just knows, which is what I was saying to the first question, it's just knowing the crazy mind, and then it knows the not crazy mind, or the mind that's just empty and aware. That part of the mind, which, the word mind is so problematic. We keep using it, especially in the West, in so many different ways, overlapping ways, but we just call it the knowing. You don't even have to call it the mind, because the mind creates a sense of a substance, doesn't it? But that which knows, or the knowing, generally doesn't have a view or an opinion. That part of the mind that says it's good, bad, right, wrong, great, an attainment or not an attainment, or a failure, that's the kind of discursive, or what we call the ego mind. But the knowing simply knows itself is the mind essence itself, and it's knowing itself without knowing anything, and without there being anything there to know it. So if you look deeply into the mind essence, it's not something, but it's not nothing. So in Dzogchen, they refer to it as empty cognizance. Okay, so we cognize this knowing, but it's not something. This is the paradox. And then the mind goes, but hang on, I've got to work this one out, and starts adding more words and moving away from the simplicity of just knowing to writing a book or having a big conversation internally. And that's the ego part of the mind. So just, so if there's something recognizing something else, it's very dualistic. It's a subject-object. But when there's just knowing, and there's knowing of knowing, and there's not much more else going on or being added on, then we're getting closer to kind of what we call, I guess, pure presence, Rigpa. But initially, of course, there's going to be a dualistic understanding because we're not familiar with it. So when we're not familiar with something, we try to make sense of it. So don't worry too much, if there's a bit of dualism happening, and there will be until we're purely, we're fully in our pure nature. But just recognize that as well. It's just a dualistic understanding. But the pure knowing is just knowing without anyone being there to know it or to make something of it. So someone from Croatia says, isn't life a trap? Whatever you do, every morning your brain resets all progress. Does it? I don't experience it like that. So I don't, if you're feeling like you're trapped in a resetting, and I guess if you're saying it resets all your progress, then you feel like you're going backwards or something. But I don't know where you got that idea from or that experience. But, the brain cells are constantly renewing themselves. Probably as you get older, they're also, to some extent, degenerating. But that's not who you are anyway. So, you've got to realize that you're not your brain, and that there's something that can know the brain, and that when the brain's working well or not working well, that's not the brain. We just talked about the knowing. So, keep going, keep practicing, keep understanding. Anne said, sorry, Nisargadatta's I am, please comment. Thank you. If not relevant, that's okay. I think you're asking what is Nisargadatta referring to when he's talking about the I am, which I think confuses a lot of people. There is a guided meditation on my channel on that particular topic. It's called how to work with the I am, or to understand it. But most simply, he used this concept. Later I heard he didn't like it, actually. He didn't like I am that. He got more and more refined, and people got confused about it and started making it into a something or into a technique. But he was simply encouraging people to notice their presence of being, the fact that they are here, and then to go deeper into that. So even simply in the guided meditation, if you were there, Anne, we were just simply noticing breath and body, simply noticing our own being, and letting all the fluff and bother, the conditioned mind, settle, and coming more into pure presence. So that's what the I am is. Noticing this pure presence, and even going deeper into that. So Nisargadatta said we've even got to go beyond this sense of I am a something. But if we start with just being, without adding on too much, then the layers of this sense of self, this sense of I, will start to naturally fall away. And even in a short meditation like this morning, you start feeling that just by breathing. Straight away you're sloughing off the heavy, gross aspects of the mind that are going, I should do this, I shouldn't do that, and it's like, that settles, and it's getting subtler and subtler and subtler. So anyway, there's a lot on my channel and even on YouTube that tries to help people understand that concept. But it doesn't work for everyone, this I am, because they start thinking about it too much. But that's not what he wanted people to do. Okay, I recognize negative emotions often. Self-pity, anger. I sit with them and allow them to be. Good. Is the aim to just be comfortable and familiar with them and not be disturbed or to quell them? Yeah, just recognize them. And what happens when we recognize them? Natural insights happen. And, there may or may not be insight into, these patterns, how they happen. And it's not that necessary to psychoanalyze them. And if you want to come back just to the basics of the Buddha's teaching, which is much simpler, much easier, just notice there is suffering. When there's anger or self-pity, we know there's suffering. Then we start to investigate the cause of this suffering. Yeah, and the cause is that we're holding on to them. We're creating a storyline. We're believing that the anger is me. The self-pity story that I have is who and what I am. So there's what's called clinging, holding on to that, grasping. And then once we see that, we naturally start to see how it comes to cessation when we let go of believing them to be me and mine, believing the storyline. And then they start to naturally dissipate, fall away over time with practice. And then we come to an end of suffering. So those Four Noble Truths that the Buddha, is the core of the Buddha's teaching, we can see them at every moment in our lives, in our practice. And the more we see them and work with them skillfully, the less suffering we have. I'm just going to pull my blind down a bit because I think the sun is making it a little hard to see the screen. Okay. So question below says, 4 months ago, I had a genuine awakening moment. It shifted my experience entirely. Now I can't escape myself by wanting to escape the moment. I suffer from addiction and a pained ego. I'm just trying to, looking for advice, but you're saying, now I can't escape myself by wanting to escape the moment. No, because as soon as you want to escape the moment, you suffer. So that in itself is an addiction that we all have. We want to escape a moment, whatever moment that may be in our body, mind, and get to some imagined other moment that we think's better. And that is the core addiction. I think that's the addiction that you're referring to rather than a substance addiction. So the advice is simply, like anything here, is just to know it. We all go into meditation like we go into life, trying to fix things, trying to do something to get rid of something, and without recognizing that very desire is the problem in itself. As soon as we want to kill something, escape from something, we're on the very path of, setting up the tension, setting up the struggle in that moment. That this is the cause of suffering. as well, pushing away and wanting to get towards. It's as simple as that. So, yes, okay, so you say you had a genuine awakening moment. Where is it now? It's gone. However, hopefully, some of the insight that you had is still accessible. And hopefully that awakening moment was recognizing that there's something within you that's untouched by all this movement and all this sense of self. So you need to take that insight into what's happening now to recognize that wanting to escape from yourself, I can't escape, but I want to escape, is the cause of suffering. And then when you really see that and have another awakening in that moment, oh my God, it's all self-created suffering. It's all happening in our minds. And we are addicted to this desire mind. The desire mind is the addiction. So just keep going and keep inciting this. The thing just jumped again. So hang on. I don't know why it behaves like this. Oh. Okay, I found you. Full on love. After many years of trying to practice meditation, I still cling to ideas of how the meditation and I should be. Yeah, which is what we just talked about. In 95% of the meditations, I felt even worse than before. Meditation seems too simple. There's a few little confusing questions here that seem to be contradictions in themselves. So if meditation seems too simple, but in 95% of meditations I feel even worse than before, and you're clinging to ideas of how it should be, well, let's drop this idea that you think meditation is too simple, because obviously you're not making it simple, you're making it more complicated than it needs to be. And it's really hard to answer these questions without the full context. So just try to get out of what I say, and relate it to your own specific thing. But for some reason, you're feeling that 95% of meditations you feel even worse than before. So again, we've set up this idea of, I think I should feel like this, but when I come out of meditation, I feel like that. Therefore, it's not working. And now, the thing is, and Ajahn, just coming back to Ajahn Chah's brilliant teaching, because people would go to him saying, oh, I had a good meditation, but then today I had a bad meditation. And, this idea that there's something about meditation that's good and something that's bad, it's the whole root of the problem. And he'd say, good meditation, bad meditation, good meditation, which is like, I don't mind what happens. Whatever happens is okay. So it's only you saying 95% of your meditations you feel worse. But if you had a different frame of mind, you could say, yeah, I come out of meditation and I notice, this is my example, it may not obviously relate, but I notice that I feel sad, or I feel angry, I feel confused. It's not the meditation that's the problem. It's sometimes meditation allows these things to come up and gives it space. So it's not a bad meditation. And yeah, you might feel crappy, but it's like you could turn that around and say, okay, great, this has been revealed. I can see this feeling crappy at the end of meditation is because my mind's starting to cling to this, or this memory has been stirred up. Wonderful opportunity to look at what that memory is, that emotion is, and to work with it skillfully, which is what I've been hopefully saying, you've hopefully heard prior to that, which is just notice these things as they come up. But it's the worse than before. It's good. Meditation's good. Meditation's bad. It needs to be like this. This is just, this is life, isn't it? How we are in life. And we take these same patterns into meditation, into spirituality. Life's all about attaining the ideal, the best job, the best partner, the best body, being successful, being rich, being beautiful, being whatever, successful. And so all that crap gets taken into spirituality and meditation. And then we have these ideas that I'm going to be a great yogi and have bliss, and I'm going to be a Buddha, and then I'm going to be Jesus, and as great as Jesus, and I'm going to be loving, and then all this crap comes up, and we say we're a failure. But it's like, look at what we take into these practices is all our own concepts and views and opinions, and mixes them all up in spirituality, and it becomes one big marketable mess. And we're a mess with it too. So we've got to drop all this crap and develop wisdom. This wisdom is so lacking in modern meditations, really, in modern spirituality. Everyone's walking around, I'm spiritual, I'm a meditator. And then, but my meditation's so terrible. All these ideals. So drop it all. And if you feel worse, feel worse. Nothing's wrong. Develop wisdom. And then, and then we're really making progress. And look at it's all ego clinging. It's all, I want this, I want that, in meditation, in spirituality. And just be a mess. No one wants to be a mess in this world, do they? We all want to be winners. Okay, so do you have a daily schedule and routine? If so, would you mind sharing with us? Well, I don't want to tell you my daily schedule, because then you'll go, oh, well, that's not my daily schedule. She's got a better one. I better do this. But basically, it involves getting up early, watching the mind from when I wake to when I go to sleep throughout the day, and keeping things simple. Very simple life. I think it might bore the pants off you, but, if you want to know mine, then you'll go, oh, I better do that. She's a nun. I'm not a nun. I'm a failure. I'm not saying that about me. I'm saying that's what people do. We start comparing, and then, she must sit for long. I don't sit long enough. So whatever your life is your meditation practice. You work with it. And yeah, of course, if you can set time aside, but I don't know people's lives. They've got children and busy lives. But just setting aside 15, 20 minutes just to sit in silence and just drop all the crap, and just notice all the crap, and noticing all the striving, all the becoming, all the wanting. Just breathe out 15 minutes and let go of thinking that you've got to be anything. So the question below you is, knowing the impending chaos that is coming in the next few years and decades due to climate change, how can we stay present and in balance during that time without getting overwhelmed? Through the practice, through practicing staying present and knowing things are constantly changing. They always have been, in a chaos in one form or the other. And we don't know what's going to happen. And, so it's wise reflection about, if you're involved in helping climate change practically in whatever way, we can all help it. Traveling less for one, and consuming less, and then whatever else you can do or do, and then just practicing to wake up, but using wisdom to know that this world is always in a state of flux and flow and change, and we are at an interesting time. Or we say we are, maybe because we're all so think we're living in the most important times, but I think every generation probably thinks that. I get so sleepy meditating during the day. If I meditate when I lie in bed, my energy soars and then I can't sleep. What to do? Yeah, this can be a problem. You think you're sleepy, you go to bed and then you start to wake up. I mean, it's hard to say what to do. Every body is different. Every mind is different. But if you can just sit and meditate prior to bed, and then if you find your mind is active as you lie down, then doing some sort of like, sort of a mantra or something can help you just to calm it down, or metta practice. So you turn your mind to something quietening and calming, like metta practice. May I be well, may I sleep peacefully, rather than letting it run away with, thoughts of the day, thoughts of what you got to do tomorrow, or just a simple mantra like Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. But, sleep, people have different sleep patterns, things that work, things that don't work, things we shouldn't do before bed, like scrolling on the phone, looking at blue screens, eating too much sugar or coffee. So look at all those other patterns, because it's hard to just answer in response to a few lines about what's going on in your life. And see what you can do to help you settle at night. That might be related to diet or environment too. So below you, whenever I meditate, I feel often that I am manipulating my breathing rhythm. Is this normal, or how do I correct it if I'm manipulating? It can, when we turn our attention to breathing, it can feel like, because we become self-conscious. So we start interfering with it. So just notice, okay, it's good. It is good to kind of do some conscious breathing and get that kind of so-called manipulation out of the way. And then just notice if you feel like you're interfering, or it doesn't really matter, really. Okay, I'm just holding it a bit, then just relax. And then the more you relax, the more the breath, the breath does breathe by itself. It's just when we become, we start to want to unconsciously or even consciously manipulate it, that then it becomes a bit tense. So just notice, I'm tense, the breath's a bit tense, a bit not flowing because I'm holding it or trying to make it deeper. So it's just another thing to start to become familiar with. And, that manipulation, that control can be a reflection of how we hold in life anyway. So that can be a good insight. Yeah, I'm always trying to control the movements of things, right? And the way I relate to my breathing is another reflection of that. So just see that. Okay. And encourage yourself just to trust and let go and let the breath breathe by itself, because it does anyway, particularly when you're asleep. How can you explain non-doership? How is it possible a non-doer can practice metta or create? Yeah, this is the big mystery. I mean, I can explain it, but it's not going to help you that much. You have to see it for yourself, and just to investigate. Like, I think using some Ramana Maharshi's pointers is a good way to start, to inquire, which bit are you? Who am I? Are you your thoughts? Are you the body? Are you, which in we feel the body, which bit of the body are you? Okay. And then do that inquiry. So, I'm assuming I'm the doer. Go find the doer. And if you can find the doer, then you've probably deluded yourself. But the thing is, you go looking for a me in that quiet self-inquiry process, that contemplative stage, and you discover you can't actually pinpoint a me, can you? But if you haven't done this in the context where the mind's a little bit quiet and spacious, then we're just having a kind of a conceptual conversation, and it seems ridiculous that I'm saying, and you're saying it too, but for someone to say there's no specific doer, there's no specific self, permanent fixed self, because I'm here and you're here. But if we stay at that level, it's just ridiculous. But when you look within, searching for the doer, the meditator, how do you find them? So that's where we have to leave this question. You have to go within, searching for the doer, this sense of who you think you are, and see if you can find it. And these would be some of the challenges that some of the Zen masters go away for 3 years and come back. You tell me and find when you find yourself. And most of the good practitioners would come back empty-handed, realizing that there's nothing and no one specifically to be found. There's a whole lot of processes and changes and experiences, but there's no one single thing in this conditioned realm. Okay, so Amandi behind me. How relevant and useful is having the conceptual framework of enlightenment in today's world? The black and white concept of attaining or not just don't follow the rhythm of nature. I'm not sure I understand the question. The black and white concept of attaining or not just don't follow the rhythm of nature. Well, it's not very useful, is it? A conceptual framework of enlightenment at one level, I'd say. People just start creating ideas in their heads. Again, I would just come back, keep these things simple. Come back to the Buddha's teaching. The most brilliant framework is the Four Noble Truths. If you just take that as a framework for understanding suffering, the cause of suffering, the path leading to the end of suffering, and the end of suffering, then you have the perfect framework. And you don't even need to call it enlightenment. It's just the end of suffering. Because when suffering ceases and we see, we're enlightened to understand suffering and the Four Noble Truths fully realizing it, that is enlightenment. We're enlightened, we're understanding, we're out of ignorance because we fully understand, we're fully enlightened to the cause of ignorance. And that's all enlightenment is. It's fully understanding the cause of ignorance, having seen through it, then we're fully free from it. It's not bells and whistles and I don't know, people, there's so many different ideas of enlightenment, isn't there? I imagine. But those who have all these great ideas about what enlightenment is are only going to be disappointed, because enlightenment's not an idea. Okay. Did the Buddha say there is no self or an I at all, or did he say there is no separate self that can be found anywhere? If the latter is correct, then one can state that there is a conditioned self. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's not like he kind of made this declaration and expected everyone to believe it, but he realized through his own practice that he couldn't find anything in this conditioned world that was not subject to the three conditions of anicca, impermanence, that didn't constitute a fixed, unchanging self, and that when clung to were a cause of suffering. So obviously there's a conditioned self. You can see it on your screen. You can see it, in the vision that we have. But this is a very a gross perception, we could say. We don't see deeper into or through this conditioned perception at the moment. Some of us do at some times. And when you see deeply that at the deeper level that this appearance of a conditioned self is actually an appearance. Some call it an illusion, a dream. It's a very gross perception. But even in contemplating this gross perception of a conditioned self, through meditation, we can see there's no fixed, unchanging me anywhere that I can find in this body and mind, in this experience. But don't hold on to that as anything other than, that because when we do hold on to anything, any view of it, of non-self or self, if we hold on to anything, we suffer again. And then we go round and round suffering because we're clinging again to ideas. Even if those ideas at one level are correct, if we cling to them, we're not really understanding. So from the sublime to the ridiculous in some ways, do you ever take a cold shower and watch your thoughts saying, no, you don't have to turn the shower to cold? Do you see the cold as just an experience? Yes, I do. And I do take cold showers, and I do take cold dips in the ocean. And it's good. It's good fun if you do it, in a sensible way. Don't give yourself a heart attack. It is just an experience, cold or hot, pleasant or unpleasant, and it keeps changing. Is the experience better when it's hot, or it's just experience? Yeah, well, if it's better when it's hot, it's because we have a preference for hot. But yeah, it's all just sensations on the body, isn't it? And when we hate the cold and prefer the warmth, then we're just pushing and pulling again in relation to sensations. So it can be good just to put yourself sensibly into situations like that you don't like cold or shower, and realize, gosh, it is just a sensation, but I've created such a storyline about cold. I hate it. And like if we hate anything, we don't like anything, it becomes much bigger than just a cold shower, a cold sensation. As we get older and our brains and bodies deteriorate, what is the relationship between body condition and our ability to deeply meditate? That's a good question, and it's why we should start if we have a good brain and body when we're younger. And like anything, we start to practice. It's very hard to pick up meditation later in life if you're just racked with really a lot of body pain, or your brain's all, very confused. But if your body gets very painful and if your body gets very painful and your brain gets very confused as you get older, which in most cases it does, to one degree or another, but you've been practicing for a long time, then you recognize, well, I'm not this body, and I'm not even this slightly demented brain. And if you've practiced to develop awareness, then you can actually just witness the brain not being as functional with as good memory as it used to be. But it's not who and what you are. This is the problem. People think that when people get dementia, that it's me, it's my problem, it's me going downhill. It's like, no, it's just, like your back goes out. Sometimes your brain goes out, and it depends what you've been putting into your body, doesn't it? And what you've been doing with your brain too, or just hereditary. That depends on what happens. But if we've been practicing just noticing these changing brains and bodies, sometimes they're functional, sometimes they're a little less functional. We don't take it personally. And we can still find a clear light of awareness and a clear inner peace, regardless of how the body or brain is functioning. Because hopefully we've recognized that it's not what we are, who and what we truly are. It's just a conditioned form. So Stephen's asking below whether the soft butter meditation can eventually cure chronic body tension and pain. And without giving doctors advice, I think it definitely can, and it's been touted as such. But again, it's like with anything. If we go in and expect it's going to cure my chronic pain within 1 month and it doesn't, then we think it's a failure or I'm a failure. So keep practicing. But what it is doing is, it's very important in Chinese medicine, Tibetan medicine. It brings that energy down from the head, where a lot of our energy is concentrated and stuck, and just helps move the energy down through that practice. But, you also, if someone's got chronic body pain, you would probably need to do this in conjunction with other treatments too, to help, like whatever herbs you might be taking, or acupuncture can help. But, it's like a lot of these questions, there's no one size fits all. I think it can definitely help with patterns of holding body tension and pain. But if this has been something deep, or it's been going on for a long time, or, it's got some complicated physical problems, then might need other sources of medical help. Okay, so just a few more. I'm just seeing how many questions there are today. Oh, not too bad, actually. Oh, good. Not too bad. I think I can do them. If I can find the next one. I found it. Okay, so someone's encouraging us to do good things for the environment. Absolutely. We do what we can do. I mean, we're not completely helpless or hopeless. So Jeremy's saying, surely the I am is the same as the Holy Ghost and the Buddha. They are synonyms. Possibly. Again, it depends how someone's using or understanding this concept. They're all concepts pointing to something. But, the Buddha is the one, the Buddha means the one who knows, who's fully awake. The I am that Nisargadatta was pointing to was just knowing this sense of I am, and that which knows it eventually uproots the I am. So the Buddha, I wouldn't say the I am is the Buddha. That which uproots the I am eventually, which knows it in its entirety, and the fact that this sense of I am, even the subtle sense, that can lead, that's sort of a kind of a sense of me in there. Anyway, they're all concepts. They have to be really, it's an experiential knowing, understanding. And then we come out and we put all these words on it, and it all gets muddled. So if Buddhism doesn't believe in an eternal self and there is no self, then who is the being who is observing? Well, that's what you need to find out. And that's what you probably start labeling as yourself. Oh, well, I'm the observer. This is the problem. So just recognize as an observing, without adding on, well, this is me, this is the eternal self, this is what we do, see. But if you just be the observer without a storyline, sense of me, you'll notice that it's quite pure. If we are a product, this is the same person. If we are a product of dependent origination, then where did the psyche and observing part come from? Is it all just energy? Well, without going into dependent origination and the complication of that, for people who don't know, it is a process. Yeah, and it's about understanding this whole process of from ignorance, how ignorance starts us on a chain of becoming and suffering, birth, death, old age, sickness, to understanding how to come out of that chain of ignorance and suffering. What do you think is the role of psychedelics in introducing people into the spiritual path? I know of many people, including myself, who completely changed direction in life after that experience. Yeah, it can lead people into it. It opens up something, mostly just our own baggage and psyche. And then, we might have a glimpse into, wow, in the midst of all this psychedelia, it feels like there's something a little bit more profound and deeper. And it can turns a lot of people to practice. But if you're using psychedelics a lot as a way of having experiences, then it's not encouraged. It's just more experiences that we start clinging to and wanting. And we've got to learn just to understand our natural state. You write a lot of I, and I might be the reason why. That's to someone else. Do Buddhists eat garlic or onions for health reasons? There's so many different Buddhists in the world. There's Mahayana, Zen, Tibetan. Some eat garlic, some don't. And, I think raw garlic is pretty strong, isn't it? So is raw onion. But if it's cooked, it can be quite a healthy thing. Okay, I think we're coming to the end of the questions, because a lot of these are just statements. Okay. Why does embracing uncertainty give you a leg up on being present? A leg up. Embracing uncertainty, because that is the present. Everything is uncertain in this moment. So if you really, really get that, really grok it or embrace it, do that now. Do you know what the next moment's going to bring? In Buddhism we say the next breath could be my last breath. We don't know when we're going to die. So that brings us, otherwise we're ruminating, aren't we? We're ruminating, maybe I'll go and do this today, or remember when I was doing that. We're not present. So when you're like, hang on, the next moment could be my last breath. I don't know what's going to happen in the next moment. I really don't. I've been fantasizing that I'm going to do this when I go to this place, but it's so uncertain, and it's never the way we imagine it's going to be. So it means when we really fully embrace uncertainty, we drop all the discursive fantasizing and we enter the present moment, which is much more peaceful and empty. Okay, there's a few recommendations here for helping to deal with the dark night of the soul. So someone said, could you please put up today's meditation online? It's in the, if you go to the playlists, after this, you'll see that this live session's there, and you can just, if you didn't do the meditation, just start the video from the beginning. Okay, I think we've reached the end of the questions, mostly just statements. And thank you. So, all right, so we'll leave it there. Amanda said, I think I gave advice on the comment. Okay. All right, folks. Well, it's 8:30 now, and it's time for my cup of tea. And I hope you're all well and still enjoying the offerings on the channel and doing what you can in life to wake up and to let go of suffering and to help your fellow humans out there in whatever way you can to live a simple life. Got all this dust. I just noticed all this dust because I've been away for a while. And then the dust is gone. Look, I've just wiped the dust off and it's gone. Take care. Jatindria will be back will be with you in 3 weeks' time in her inimitable, compassionate presence. So please join her in 3 weeks on this channel. She'll be looking forward to seeing you all, I'm sure. And go well, go peacefully, and I'll see you after that sometime. Okie dokie. Ending the stream now.